Parents of Reddit, what is your favorite "why is my kid so stupid" moment? Part 2. Not my kid, but my niece loves crawling around on the floor trying to lick doorstops. When she's not doing that, she's actively searching for dust lint on the floor and tries to devour it before you take it from her. Prob's gonna die or have a real good immune system. Walked into the bathroom to see my 3-year-old girl with the toilet brush in her mouth. So that was disgusting. What could have possibly be going through her mind? Giant ice cream cone. Hell, I don't know. Kids are dumb. When my daughter was around 5 years old, I told her to start putting her toys away. She told me she couldn't because she didn't have any hands, while showing me her hands. My daughter was wrapped up in a towel like a burrito after a bath, tried to point to something in the book I was reading to her while she dried, and suddenly freaked out because she couldn't find her hands. Lose debit card, go through painful renewal process, finally arrives in the mail, kid asks, "Can I see?" He takes it and bends it in half. When my oldest first started walking, he grabbed my card and waddled away. My mom mentioned it to me that he had it, and I was like, it's okay, he can't run fast. So when I go to grab it, the boy sprints, falls, and lands on the card, snapping it in half. Not me, but my younger brother loved eating ants. He just grabbed a bunch of them and put them in his mouth and started chewing. I guess they bit him, but he didn't care. Fun, sort of related fact. Termites taste minty and are apparently a good source of protein. At least the ones in Belize that look sort of like ants. My little sister said she wanted to become a toilet when she grew up. I reminded her of it quite often. I wanted to be a pram buggy stroller when I was 4. Legit thought I'd get to sprout my own wheels and drive babies around all day. Still gets brought up now and I'm in my late 20s. I got sand on my Game Boy Advance, so I promptly washed it off in the ocean. Ugh. Sounds like when I tried putting a sandcastle on my brother's N64 as a gift. He wouldn't look at it, so I got mad. Thought I would set it there he was looking so he would have to see it. He still rags on me to this day. I think I was 2. My son came home one afternoon from school with one shoe. What happened to your other shoe? Son, I lost it. Me, what? What do you mean you lost it? Son, I lost it. I don't know where it is. Me, so, when did you lose your shoe? Son, at lunch. So you've been walking around all afternoon with only one shoe? Yep. Me, begins to understand why hamsters eat their young. Nobody at school noticed he was missing a shoe for that long? Evidently not. There are a number of oddities about his story that really make no sense. But he maintains to this day that he just lost the shoe and that nobody said anything about it. It's weird. Probably a tie between he announced he was going to play plastic ghost and pulled the plastic bag over his head, or when he refused to drink water or blow his nose when he had a cold. When I told both of those things help him breathe, his response was, "No breathing, I hate breathing," which plastic ghosts would seem to substantiate. This just dug up an old memory of mine. For some reason, I always wanted to have a plastic bag over my head, but my mom would never let me. My daughter was trying to look over the fence in our yard, so she climbed on top of an aquarium, falling through and requiring stitches in her legs and feet. Immediately adjacent to the aquarium was a stepladder. Our kids were probably 6 and 10. We were at a restaurant and they both ordered hot chocolate. Our drinks came, both my wife and I putting our straws into our own drinks and not paying attention. Both of the children simultaneously stick straws into the steaming hot chocolate and take huge drinks and start freaking out. I'm a 34-year-old man. I suppose at some point I knew this, but does drinking hot things through straws make it burn more? My son was 15 at the time and decided he wanted to make pancakes, so he also decided to use the plastic food cover for the microwave as a mixing bowl. Now, if you haven't used one of these, it's full of holes on the top to let steam out and protect your microwave interior from splatters. Well, I came downstairs and he's mad as hell. There is pancake batter all over the countertop and he's huffing and puffing. This is the worst mixing bowl I've ever seen. He puts holes in the bottom of a mixing bowl. I looked at him, the situation, and said, "Clean this up please," and walked out. I was really worried that he was developing dementia or something. Honestly, one of the greatest smart moments I had as a kid is when my mother refused to let me look in a recipe book or call my grandmother for a pancake recipe. So I called 0800 Pancakes and it actually called the pancake store. Unfortunately, I got blocked for asking for their recipe. My daughter tested as gifted, then got into the bathtub with the socks on that night. I did that too. I'd seen a movie about a guy who could breathe underwater and he had webbed feet. It made sense to me that the webbed feet were related to the breathing underwater, and socks seemed like a good substitute. My 2 kids asked me for bananas for their school lunches. So Monday I bought 4 bananas. On Friday, all the bananas were still there. So I asked why they didn't eat them. They both swore that they ate a banana every day. It must have been the other kid who didn't eat their bananas. As if I can't count to 4. They are 12 and 13. This happened 2 weeks ago. Your kids make their own lunches. You have nothing to complain about. Lol. We get mad props for me only buying 4 because you knew they weren't really going to eat that many bananas. Every week I have to confront my kid with lunch sack evidence of uneaten foods. Child, you said you wanted carrots but you did not eat your carrot. You said you wanted cucumbers but you did not eat the cucumbers. For crying out aloud, tell me what fruit or vegetable you will eat. I will buy pomegranate if that's what it takes. I will buy turnips if that's what it takes. Please just give me something to work with. I was the stupid kid. I was at my cousin's above ground pool when I was around 5 and there was a bumblebee sitting on the deck. My mom saw it and said, "Go around it." I proceeded to step on it and got stung. I think my little brain just said, "Jump over it," and instead I jumped on it. A bee lost its life that day. When I was about 6, I was at a friend's house and sat on a cactus by mistake. Until I was 12, I thought the first month of the year was September because that's when school started. To be fair, I know a number of people, including myself, who say this exact thing. September is always the beginning of the year, in part because it's my birthday month. The summer is over, school for young people or college for others begins, and it's time to get ready for winter. I really feel like a new year begins every single fall. Not my kid, but myself. I shoved a peanut butter jelly sandwich into a VCR slot when I was 9. And then I tried to reach inside to fish it out. I was stuck with my hand in the slot up to my wrist until my mom got home from work a couple of hours later. I don't know why I did it, but we no longer have a VCR player after that. I had a kid shove a Lego into the fan vent of a wood-burning stove. Didn't know until the next firing. Melted plastic, smelly house, mad dad. At one time, when I was half asleep as a kid, I got out of bed to go to the toilet, but instead of turning left into the bathroom, I turned right and pissed down the stairs. Hi, me too. I used to end up peeing in the kitchen trash can. My grandfather ended up coming to the kitchen to see what I was doing, and I just looked up at him, asking what's wrong as I rubbed my eye. It was fun to wake up in the middle of the night and do things wrong. My sister lost their dog and actually had it cremated. It sits in a locked box on her dresser. One day, her 4-year-old knocked over a lamp. He said the dog came out of the box and knocked it over. He doesn't quite understand the concept of death yet. So I'm going to point out my own stupidity. I had to read your first sentence twice because I couldn't figure out how she cremated a dog she couldn't find. Once, when my nephew was around 3 years old, we were eating breakfast when he asked if he could go play. I told him to eat 2 more bites of bacon and he could get down. He said he couldn't because then his muscles would get too big and be too heavy. Good answer, kid. When my sister was 15, she was playing baseball and ended up getting hurt. She goes to the hospital where the doctor tells her she broke her clavicle. My sister's response was, "So I can never have children when I'm old?" Lol, not the brightest bulb. Last year, my son, 12 at the time, was sent to the principal's office and I received a call. The principal was trying not to laugh, which confused me initially, and explained that my son was supposed to be in English class writing an assignment about making mistakes. He couldn't think of an example, decided to skip the assignment and instead made a paper plane and flew it around the classroom. I think he submitted a piece of performance art as his essay. Son always has mystery bruises, swears he doesn't run into things. We hear him yell ouch from his room, the bathroom, or when he opens the fridge into his face. Last night he was on his tiptoes looking at something on the table. He lowered to his flat feet and almost bit his stupid tongue off because his chin was still over the table. So much blood. Not to armchair parent, but you might want to take him to the eye doctor. As a formerly highly uncoordinated small person with glasses, still ran into things at an alarming rate, nearly demolished a painting of a wall once, just trying to go down the hallway. LMOA. Well, I'm not a parent, but I certainly was a child at one point. I'd had an argument with my dad when I was about 7. He told me to go to my room. I wrote, "I hate dad" on the wall in black crayon. Realized I would get my ass verbally beaten if he found it, so I managed to keep it covered with a pile of toys for 2 years until we moved house. By the time he found it, it was too late to tell me off, so we just laughed about it. I had my 4-year-old circle things in toy catalogs to start his Christmas list, since he can't write well yet. He woke up and started absolutely bawling. I rushed in there to make sure he hadn't fallen out of bed or something. Also, he's prone to night terrors, so there's that. When I asked what was wrong, he goes, "I circled something I didn't want." We had a midnight meltdown because he circled toys he didn't want. Not a parent, but my 6-year-old brother. My parents ripped up the carpet to lay down new hardwood flooring. In between laying down the new wood, my brother took a Sharpie, drew his signature potato-shaped caricature on the bare flooring of himself, signed it with his bad 6-year-old handwriting, and then refused it was him when we asked why he felt the need to draw on the floor. My parents loved the stupidity of it all, and it's still there underneath the floorboards.